I was originally going to go over episodes 4, 5, and 6 of The Acolyte, but I really don't have much to say, so here's a quick little summary. Boring, cool lightsaber fights, boring. No, today we're just going to focus on episode 7 of The Acolyte, but trust me, there's a lot to talk about. What makes this one so special? Well, it's told in the Rashomon style of showing the same events, but from a different character's point of view. Can you guess which episode was chosen for this special task? We already witnessed May light the fire, which is the main cause of everyone's turmoil, but I wouldn't be surprised if this episode found a way to gaslight us into believing witch good, Jedi bad. Let us begin. So we see the Jedi on the witch planet just hanging out, but Tolman wants to go home.
And there's no one here, and if we were going to find something, we probably would have found it by now.
100 years ago, this planet was cataloged as lifeless because of a hyperspace disaster.
This all sounds like very basic information. Did you guys just get here or something?
We've been here for 7 weeks.
7 weeks? You guys have been dicking around on this planet for 7 weeks, and you're just now telling your Padawan the history of the planet and why it's important? And this is the first time you ask after 7 weeks? What the hell were you doing during that time? Fair enough.
What's the versions?
A concentration of force energy.
Virgins could create life.
Well, if they're virgins, then how can they create life? Sol finds 2 little girls and decides to stalk them, leading him to suspect they might be connected to the virgins. This is where the 2 episodes kind of mix together. A lot of people complain this is just a rehashed version of episode 3, and while they do reuse a couple of clips, it's not too bad. It does provide new information and more new scenes than old ones. Anyways, the Jedi confront the witches, but just like what we saw in episode 3, Tolman gets force roofied. Tolman then reveals to the witch that he wants to just go home, which I have to say, this is a pretty weak reasoning behind what transpires later, because some kid is bored out of his fucking mind. Time to mimic some shitty Acolyte exposition writing. As we know, the witches agree to let the Jedi test the girls. Osha tries to fail on purpose at first, but then realizes she does want to be a Jedi. The girls head back home, and Sol and Tolman head back to the witch village to obtain both of the twins. Sol this whole time is very adamant about obtaining Osha because he feels a special connection with her. I don't know, unless they explain this later, it just kind of feels like a cheap cop-out. I just feel like she's important, but I can't explain it.
Come with me.
I told you we cannot use violence.
Yeah. Mind raping people is fine, but using a blunt staff as a weapon is simply barbaric. So the Jedi are like, we want Osha and May, and the witches are like, no, you can't have them. After May starts a fire that eventually kills everyone, she runs down the courtyard where everyone can see her. Sol mistakes May for Osha, even though the writers are trying to tell us Sol has some sort of special connection with Osha. In fact, later down the line when May pretends to be Osha, it's implied that Sol kind of figured it out right away. If Sol really does have a special connection with Osha, how could he not know this wasn't her? And why would he just assume this is Osha, not May? So, the lesbian witch starts turning into a Dementor. God, I need booze. And she starts using her creepy witch powers on May. What was she trying to do? Well, it's never answered because Sol stabs her.
I was going to let Osha go. It's what she wants. It's what she wants.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
Though I do have to ask, why did he stab her? Was he afraid she'd do that stupid fucking chant from the 3rd episode again?
The power of one!
Oh no, you don't!
Maybe Sol thought the witch was gonna pull a, if I can't have her, no one can, on her own daughter.
Okay, so then why did the witch transform into a Dementor if she didn't want violence and was okay with Osha choosing her path? It's pretty clear the Jedi aren't familiar with the witches, and if I saw some black cloud magic heading my way, I'd probably take it as a threat too. Did she really think this would go in her favor? What's that? What's that smell? I think what I'm smelling is a scene that's incredibly forced and contrived. Guys, it was all just a big misunderstanding. I made myself look like a threat for shits and giggles. It's just really unfortunate that this silly prank led to the annihilation of my entire people. Also, hi, why did the Padawan Jedi unalive himself 10 years later due to feeling guilty about what happened to the witch's coven? What did he personally do that would make him feel ashamed? Like, it was built up that this one specifically did some horrible shit. In fact, shouldn't he not care about what happened considering one of the witches invaded his mind. I mean, this could have gone way differently. You could have had him stab the Black Witch for revenge, triggering the conflicts between the witches and the Jedi. Toman Jedi now has a reason to feel guilty, the witch has a reason to become a threat, and you kill two birds with one stone. Or else he unalived himself for a different reason. What Star Wars show am I in? The Acolyte. Down the hatch.
Fight me!
Jesus, lady, you could give Joffrey a run for his money.
I'm not tired!
This one in particular has been overacting in this episode. Is it badass or cool? No. So the witches disappear and Toman believes that his mind is going to be taken over again. His mental fortitude is much stronger than before.
Somehow.
The witches possess the Wookiee Jedi's mind and we get a pretty cool fight scene. Watching how a Wookiee fights with a lightsaber in live action is admittedly pretty cool. I mean, the choreography in the show as a whole has been top notch, and that's probably where most of the budget went to. Anyways, back to stupidity. It takes one Jedi to free the Wookiee from an entire coven of witches. Yeah, looks like your power of many ideology is nothing but a load of shit. After the Wookiee is freed, all of the witches just die. How? Why? Actually, why am I complaining? Sol tries to save both Osha and May, but unfortunately that gosh darn bridge is just too heavy. So we get to witness that writing cliche of you must pick one. Hey, here's a bright idea. Why don't you just use the Force on the two little girls who weigh nothing instead of trying to lift a 5-ton metal bridge? So the Jedi decide to tell the Council the truth, which is that May started the fire and the Jedi acted in self-defense. Yeah, I don't really see the lie either. The episode wants us to believe the Jedi are twisting the truth in order to make themselves look better, but there's really no need, because that's exactly what fucking happened. If the Mother Witch didn't turn into a Dementor, making herself look threatening, and by also not telling the Jedi that she wants Osha to make her own choice, she's pretty much the one to blame for how this conflict escalated. And you know, her freaking daughter starting a fire. That didn't help either. Well, okay, you know, the episode was pretty bad, but it wasn't horrendous. I was expecting way worse.
Parts of me will die with you.
Yeah, let me just first answer the question that's in all of our minds right now. Yes, this is real. You know, I'm all for writers having their own vision when it comes to crafting a Star Wars story to portray a new interpretation, but the Acolyte isn't just jumping the shark here, it is butt-fucking it. Until there is nothing left. Do you think this is the Hunger Games or some other shitty teen dystopian film series? In what world did you believe putting a goofy fucking pop song in a Star Wars product wouldn't have at all been distasteful? I've never heard an end credit song more out of place since The Bear and the Maiden Fair, and that was supposed to be intentionally funny and out of place. There's two rules that you must follow in crafting a Star Wars product. A rule of two, if you will. Shut the fuck up. You don't mess with or try to put your own spin to the Star Wars opening credits or end credits. I mean, the opening credits supposed to get you hyped up, whether it be a simple intro like the Bad Batch or the scroll credits from the films. That is sacred. It doesn't have to be the same soundtrack, but at least something that fits with the universe. This shitty pop song could not be more out of place, even if it tried. Yet I sure can't wait for the Acolyte to release the country remix. My entire family is now barbecue. However many take me home. Let's pray that episode 8 is just a compilation of shirtless Sith Daddy, and we can finally wrap up this mistake.